Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, where you receive real and authentic updates about the Iraqi Dinar. If you want to stay informed with moment-by-moment developments, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Today we're analyzing a developing situation that has caught the attention of many Iraqi Dinar followers. Recent commentary suggests that the coming weeks could be significant, but at the same time, Iraq appears to be in what some are calling a waiting mode due to unresolved Iranian-related issues. According to the discussion circulating in financial circles, the Speaker of Parliament in Iraq has reportedly placed parliamentary sessions on hold until certain political matters are addressed. There are also claims that unless Iranian influence inside Iraq is managed and tensions involving Tehran are stabilized, there will be no forward movement on any currency reinstatement, and that the United States would not approve such a step under current conditions. Let's break this down calmly, analytically, and in a way that separates speculation from economic reality. First, the reported suspension of parliamentary sessions is an important political signal. Iraq's legislative process plays a key role in budget approvals, reform laws, banking regulations, and broader economic initiatives. When parliamentary activity slows or pauses, it can delay economic legislation that supports structural reform. Political gridlock in Iraq is not new. Since 2003, the country has experienced repeated cycles of government formation delays, policy disputes, and coalition reshuffling. Markets that follow Iraq closely understand that political pauses often reflect negotiations behind the scenes rather than complete institutional paralysis. When it comes to the Iraqi dinar, stability in governance matters. The currency is issued and managed by the Central Bank of Iraq, but monetary policy operates within the broader political framework of the country. Investor confidence, international agreements, and compliance with global financial standards all depend on a functioning government. So when parliamentary sessions are on hold, short-term expectations for major financial announcements typically cool down. Now let's address the more sensitive topic, Iranian influence and tensions involving Tehran. Iraq shares deep historical, economic, and geographic ties with Iran. Trade between the two countries has been significant, particularly in energy imports such as gas and electricity. At the same time, Iraq maintains strategic relations with the United States. Balancing these relationships has been a defining feature of Iraqi foreign policy for years. Geopolitical tensions between Washington and Tehran often create ripple effects inside Iraq. If tensions escalate, Iraq can find itself navigating pressure from both sides. From a currency standpoint, international alignment matters because Iraq's access to dollar liquidity, international banking systems, and oil revenue settlements are interconnected with global financial networks that include US oversight mechanisms. The suggestion that the United States would not sign off on a reinstatement of the dinar unless certain Iranian issues are resolved should be understood within a broader financial compliance framework. Iraq's oil revenues are largely processed through international financial systems. The Central Bank of Iraq operates under anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing compliance standards. Any significant currency reform or change in exchange rate policy would require stability, transparency, and confidence from global financial partners. However, it is important to clarify something for viewers. There is no official confirmation from the Central Bank of Iraq that a specific reinstatement event is scheduled or pending approval from another country. Exchange rate adjustments, if they occur, are monetary policy decisions based on economic fundamentals such as inflation control, foreign reserves, fiscal balance, and structural reform progress. These decisions are not typically framed as geopolitical approvals, but rather as macroeconomic calculations. Now, does geopolitical tension impact monetary reform timing? Absolutely. Central banks prefer to act during periods of stability, A currency adjustment introduced during heightened political tension could trigger capital flight, volatility, or speculative behavior. Therefore, if Iraq's leadership believes that regional tensions need to calm before advancing economic reforms, that would be consistent with responsible central banking behavior. In the short term, what does this mean for Iraqi dinar followers? It means that expectations of immediate currency movement should remain measured. Political pauses and geopolitical negotiations tend to slow down major economic initiatives. Markets dislike uncertainty. Until clarity emerges regarding Iraq's internal political alignment and its diplomatic balancing act, the dinar is likely to remain managed within its existing framework. In the medium term, however, the situation is more nuanced. Iraq's economic fundamentals have improved in certain areas over the past few years. Oil production remains a central driver of government revenue. Foreign currency reserves have been reported at relatively stable levels compared to previous crisis periods. The central bank has implemented digitalization initiatives, electronic payment expansion, and tighter currency auction controls to address dollar leakage. If regional tensions subside and parliamentary work resumes with momentum, Iraq could return to focusing on structural reforms. These include diversifying non-oil revenue, improving tax collection systems, modernizing the banking sector, and strengthening anti-corruption enforcement. All of these reforms contribute to currency stability over time. Long term, the real strength of the Iraqi dinar will not depend on a sudden event, but on institutional maturity. Sustainable currency appreciation, if it ever occurs, would require productivity growth, private sector expansion, stable governance, and reduced reliance on oil alone. Iraq has significant potential. It holds some of the largest proven oil reserves in the world, has a young population, and occupies a strategic geographic location linking the Gulf to Europe and Asia. But potential must be converted into policy execution. The idea that things in Iraq are known to change suddenly and pivot does have some historical basis. Iraqi politics can move quickly once agreements are reached behind closed doors. Government formation deals have sometimes appeared stalled for months, only to resolve rapidly when compromise emerges. However, sudden political change does not automatically translate into sudden currency reform. Monetary systems require preparation, coordination with banks, and technical adjustments. For viewers following the dinar closely, it's important to separate political headlines from monetary mechanics. A pause in parliament does not automatically signal either doom or imminent breakthrough. It signals negotiation. There is also a psychological dimension worth mentioning. When commentary describes upcoming weeks as explosive, it can create emotional volatility among currency watchers. Responsible financial analysis requires patience. Currency markets are driven by data, not anticipation alone. Short-term risks currently include geopolitical spillover, delays in budget implementation, and investor hesitation. Long-term opportunities include infrastructure development projects, energy sector expansion, and integration into regional trade corridors. If tensions between Iraq's key partners ease, we could see renewed international engagement. That might include energy investment agreements, banking partnerships, and reconstruction funding. Those factors over time strengthen macroeconomic stability. At the same time, it's important to remember that Iraq has navigated complex geopolitical environments before. The country has operated under sanctions, conflict, reconstruction phases, and political transitions. Its financial institutions have gradually evolved through those challenges. So where does that leave the Iraqi dinar today? In a holding pattern influenced by political context, but still supported by oil revenue and central bank management tools. There is no credible evidence of an imminent overnight transformation. There is also no evidence of economic collapse based solely on parliamentary delays. For IQD followers, the most responsible approach is to monitor official statements from the Central Bank of Iraq, fiscal data releases, oil revenue trends, and international compliance updates. These are measurable indicators. Speculation tied to unnamed contacts or dramatic timelines should always be approached cautiously. If the Iranian-related issues are resolved diplomatically and parliamentary activity resumes, we would expect incremental economic progress rather than sudden currency revaluation. If tensions escalate further, we would expect continued monetary caution and possible defensive measures to maintain exchange rate stability. The glass half full perspective mentioned in the commentary reflects a belief in Iraq's resilience. That resilience is real, but resilience works best when paired with realistic expectations and disciplined analysis. In closing, the current environment suggests patience rather than panic. Iraq's economic trajectory depends on political stability, regional diplomacy, structural reform, and continued oil revenue management. The dinar's path will follow those fundamentals. As always, we will continue to monitor verified developments and provide you with balanced, factual analysis without hype or unrealistic promises. If you value responsible and accurate Iraqi dinar coverage, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video so you don't miss future updates. And remember, this content is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. Always conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions.